Davante Adams, man, how you feeling and what's going on with you since you signed?
Feeling great, man. Honestly, I couldn't feel any better. Came in, got a warm welcome from all of the guys on the third floor, and then my teammates. I mean, just the respect that I've gotten from them, it's been through the roof. So it made my transition pretty easy. Just had my second child too, like we were talking about. So a lot of blessings to look forward to right now. So now we're just getting to work. All these boys getting in shape, and we're gonna get out there ready for the season.
Yeah, for sure. 2014, 53rd player chosen in the second round. Take me through that draft process. Take me through what you're thinking about coming out of Fresno State, where you thought you were going to go, the strength and weaknesses of your game at that time.
Yeah, well, that's a good question because it was a whirlwind, man. I came out. I was young. I came out as a redshirt sophomore. So me and Derek, obviously, we balled together at Fresno, and I didn't really think about the draft my whole last year, and we were both balling. We were just flowing. I was just thinking about having fun with my teammates, getting it in every week, and just staying present in the moment. And I feel like that's one of the things that attributed to some of my success is just being laser focused, locked in on what I had to do. So when the opportunity kind of showed up late in the season that it was something that was kind of legit, I was like, oh wow, and then it actually made me not nervous, but it made me feel like I was happy that I was able to focus throughout the whole season and not get too far ahead of myself because I did feel a little bit more pressure, especially being a young cat coming out. So, I was projected to go first, second, third round, but there was a lot of teams that were interested in me in the first. So, had the ESPN camera crews come to the crib. Everybody there had a bunch of my family at the house. My mom's small apartment. We packing that thing out. The whole first round go by. And it's the first pick go by. As soon as you hear who get drafted, it ain't you. You think, oh, they tripping. That's supposed to be me. So right out the gate, I keep hearing all these names called, a bunch of receivers. It's a lot of receivers going early, and none of them my name. And I'm like, okay, so this is weird. A couple teams that said they was interested in me picking, different, not even receivers. So I'm like, all right, now I'm getting nervous. Then we get to the end. I think at 28, I thought I was going to the Carolina Panthers. That's who talked to me the most. They picked Kelvin Benjamin. I just took my earpiece out, everything. I'm telling people to leave. So at this point, I think the last team that could have done it was Seattle. And then by the time it got to them, I think they traded away their pick. So everybody get out. We gone. Next day, I just had really, really close immediate family. My girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now. My mom, agent, a couple uncles, cousins, but it was a small group. We all wore black because it's everybody's funeral who didn't pick me day one. And then I get picked to go to the Packers, and I was ecstatic, but I was still I think that gave me a little chip on my shoulder because I felt like a lot of the guys that got picked ahead of me, like they weren't better than me or hadn't proven more to be better than me. So came in and tried to get to work, and the rest is history.
So you had like a draft party. So you had
basically
folks showing up at a place.
Mind you, this apartment is like 600 square feet too, so it's not a big one. But we had that thing packed in there for sure, man. It was a good experience. Looking back now, I feel like it's awesome to be able to talk about it. But it took a lot out of me that first day just because put a lot of effort into it. I got an earpiece, my phone obviously ringing all day, and none of them who I wanted to be. There's a bunch of people calling saying good luck. I wanted to go through and just silence everybody that I had saved in my phone because I was tired of seeing it ring off the hook. But yeah, man, like I said, I feel like it gave me that chip on my shoulder and made me who I am today.
Did any teams call you in that process, or any general manager, front office people like, hey, wait around, we like you? Any teams call before you were chosen?
I had one team call, I won't say who it was, but I had one team call and say that and the thing that threw me off the most was that I didn't realize that, I'm new to this, so when they say pick is in or whatever, or whoever's on the clock, like they called before. They called like 2 picks ago. So when like I said, first round, when the Panthers were up and I see pick is in, I'm like, I'm gonna grab my phone like, it's my fault. Like, what's going on? Because there was no doubt in my mind. I was like, I'm either going before this or I'm going to the Panthers. And then they took another wideout, and I was like, okay, we're gonna make them pay. But one other team called and said if I was available, that they would be interested in doing it, and then they didn't do it. So then I had a few feelings. I was in my feelings that day for sure. But then, like I said, next day it kind of went away because I was rejuvenated, just happy to be in the league.
Okay. So once you get drafted, that first year, just like me, the first year you're trying to get accommodated to the speed and kind of what's going on. Talk to me about that first year, the adversity, some of the adversity you have to deal with, and how you're able to overcome that thing.
Well, I mean, it's no secret. Once you come from, it don't matter what you did in college. Anytime you go from middle school to high school to college, college to the league, you're a small fish in a big pond now, regardless. I mean, you could come in with your chest poked out all you want, but it's now you're going in there with grown men. So it's a whole different speed. Like I said, I had a different body type at that point. So it was a lot of adjustments that needed to be made that I didn't necessarily even think about, but, prior to, coming into the league, especially going to a team like the Packers that's so fast-paced, the way Aaron does everything. It's a lot of no huddle and stuff. So I come in, I'm jacked up. I did all the bench press that I needed to do.
Yeah.
But
like
then
30, trying to get 30.
But then I'm in there practicing. I just feel like I can't keep up at the speed that he wants to go to. So had to make, weight adjustments, and more of that stuff happened. Like even took to like my third year to really find out where I was going to be with that. So had to, like you said, had to get acclimated to the speed of the game. And it wasn't necessarily even just a speed as far as like people running faster, but people don't make as many mistakes. Mentally, you got to be locked in. Like everything, all the split decisions. Like you don't really got time to. You can't reverse field and do all that because you got Max Crosby chasing you dudes like that. So. Yeah, it was a lot of adjusting I had to do, and then obviously, like I said, catching a bunch of balls in college, and then coming in, and then the whole month of December, I think I caught 2 balls in my rookie year.
Wow!
And then we had to bye the first round of playoffs, and then that next divisional game, I had a 7-catch, 125-yard game and a touchdown against the Cowboys. So that just kind of showed you how it's really next man. If they want to take away Jordy and Cobb at the moment, it's on number 3 at the. I was number 3 at that point, so it was on me to step up. And I feel like some things like that kind of calloused me and got me in a position where I was kind of ready for whatever.
Yeah, and mentor-wise, when you're looking at receivers on your team or in the league, who have you patterned your game after, if anyone?
Well, I kind of separate the two. I pattern my game after a bunch of different guys. Like I've used the term, I try to create Weapon X from. Cause I'm a big X-Men fan. I take a little bit from a bunch of different guys, but I take stuff from guys that I think kind of play more like myself. So having Jordy and Randall in there, they were mentors for me for sure. But as far as like, Randall, we had a little bit of a closer, as far as like the quickness and the way we play is a little bit closer in, the way we can compare it. But there wasn't too much. It was more so the Jordy's IQ. I would take stuff like that away, but as far as like implementing the way he played, we just played so much different, and he learned a way to play with Aaron, and I learned a way to play with Derek prior to that. So it was always about separation and man-to-man type mentality for me. So I kind of had to learn the ways through Jordy as far as like how to manipulate in zones, knowing when to sit, different little nuances, flashing your hands and all of that good type of stuff. So it was a lot of things that I had to kind of get used to and change. But as far as mentors, those guys got me right as far as learning how to be a pro in this league, doing things the right way, how to represent your team, your family, and all of that stuff. And obviously I got great parents, so I already knew how to do that stuff. But to see guys at that type of level making big money, still being humble that way, I feel like I said, that did a lot for me as a young player.
Being professional. That's what being professional is about. It's not on the football field. That's one thing I appreciate about you when I did my research is everyone talked about how professional you are, how much of a businessman you are on the football field, you take on and off the football field, so important. So that's a credit to you, credit to your family and the folks who have been able to help you get to where you are. Now, fast forward 8 years later, you're a Las Vegas Raider, man. You're a Raider, right?
You see it, man.
Childhood team, right?
Yeah,
and talk to us a little bit about that. Talk about, the beginning. Now you hear a new chapter for you. So Las Vegas Raiders, talk to us about how you got here, if you wanted to be here, and some of the folks that have helped you get to this point.
Well, first off, I'm just glad that I got so much documentation. Like y'all seen the picture wearing Woods jersey, wearing Tim Brown's jersey, because it's easy. I'm from the Bay, so it's easy for me to just say I was a Raiders fan, but to be able to see all that type of stuff. I mean, I'm in the yearbook. Literally, my mom probably wasn't too happy. I don't remember exactly, so I don't want to tell a lie, but she probably wasn't too happy I wore a jersey on picture day. I'm in the yearbook in third grade telling them, I want to be an NFL, NBA star wearing Raiders gear. It's a dream come true. Facts. Like I said, I could have, things could have went all different types of ways, but this is the way that I, ultimately wanted it to be. My happiness, my kids' happiness, and being able to have my family watch me. Obviously, being in Green Bay, it's not easy getting there, and it's not cheap getting there. You would think getting into Green Bay it would be cheaper than coming to Las Vegas, but
maybe have to go to Milwaukee and take a bus in.
All of that. It's never just straight through, man. I think there's maybe been like one straight through flight in 8 years that I had that they had. But yeah, man, had a lot of people that helped me, just throughout the whole process mentally, because it was a lot. Just being in the contract year is a lot in general. let alone when you start dealing with franchise tags and all of that type of stuff. So, I would never badmouth anybody, but just the way that some of these things are structured, it makes it tougher on the players, in certain situations. And I get, it's meant to make it kind of balanced for the club too. So there is some stuff that you got to kind of think about. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy to have, great people around me on this organization, great people in my circle to, help me and keep me cool and calm, collected in some of the situations where it's not easy to be. So, man, it's a dream come true to be here rocking this logo. It's still, 2 days after I got traded, I was on Google making sure before I posted anything, let me make sure this is legit. Because this is too storybook for me to, back with my college quarterback, one of my really good friends. So, dream come true, man.
Yeah, for sure. What's your first impression of Coach Josh, and any conversations you guys have had of how they're going to utilize you in this offense?
Yeah, man. It's we met. He wasn't here the first time I came to sign, and then when I came back and did my media, we met, chopped it up, and share a lot of similar interests. He's a golfer. I love golf. I got into it maybe like 4 years ago, but really cut in half because you go to Green Bay for 7 months of the year.
Yeah, right. You're not playing out there.
You ain't playing a Green Bay golf, especially during the season. So, but yeah, like I said, similar interests, similar mindsets. We both obsessed with winning, and obviously he got a great track record of doing that. Yeah. Been to a bunch of, he's been to the dance a bunch of times. Got a bunch of rings as well. So, I'm blessed to be able to work with a guy like that because he, based off the conversations we've had, he's not trying to change anything I do. He wants to kind of more so manipulate, the way he's doing things to fit the way, what we have as players. And he knows what I do as far as the, on the film. And he said more so, and I appreciated that he said this. He said, your tape is secondary to the stuff that I've heard about you and, getting ready to work with you. I'm sure you talked to Coach Matt LaFleur. They do their research. I don't know who you talked to, but
for sure.
Talked to a few different guys, and they all kind of, I guess, said the same thing about me, which is, I appreciate them for it too, because it puts me in a good spot where I like to come in and have open conversation with my coaches, and them trust me and know that I know what I'm talking about. So to hear from a guy like Matt LaFleur, who's one of the biggest football nerds in the world, and he would love that I say that. To hear that from a guy like that, that Tay knows what he's talking about. He got a great football mind, those type of things. That sets it up well to where now I can go. Josh knows I don't have to try to prove anything to him. He already know. Like, he's not coming to me saying he don't like the play just because he wants to try to manipulate it because there's a legit reason to do something or to alter it in any type of way. Which they're probably not. Like I said, this man's won so many games.
I know.
and had so much success. It probably won't be much that I don't agree with. But in the event that there is, we don't see eye to eye on any type of small thing, it just makes me feel good to know that he's going to be open and receptive to it.
Oh, that's awesome. And Coach Coach Bennett,
man.
been around here for a while. I played against him when we were in the league together. And how has that relationship either grown or how is that relationship going to affect your success here with the Raiders?
Well, I see it only being, perfect, really. As soon as I got here, he was really the first person I saw when I walked through. We were walking through the hallways, and I was with Derek, and he popped out of his office, and man, it put the biggest smile on my face because that guy. He seen me before, when I first got there. I was almost 220, and ready to play running back the way I was looking. So, just to have a guy that's been there from the very beginning, of my NFL career, and to kind of see a full circle come back and have him back in the room with me, because he left us after my first year and not left us, but left the receiver room and was the OC.
Yeah.
So, obviously can't blame him for doing that, but. To have him back in my room now, just some of the stuff he say, it just all kind of bring everything back to the beginning. So it's a good feeling.
Yeah, and he's done a great job development. You're talking about Hunter, some of the guys he's helped kind of really elevate their game. So that's going to be great to see. And of course, everyone talks about your relationship with DC, Derek Carr, and how tight you guys are. How will the relationship change based on your great experience being with Aaron Rodgers, of course, and then his success here? And obviously, it's not college. You're not playing against, San Jose State, which my son plays linebacker at. Now you're not playing against San Jose State. You're going against the best in the world. So how does that relationship change? And are you going to be able to give him some pointers since you learned from Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, well, I won't give too much unsolicited quarterback advice, but as far as our connection, we picked up right where we left off. It wasn't until you guys moved to Vegas, or I guess we moved to Vegas now, but we were still throwing my whole career
Oh, wow.
He lived in Danville as well, literally less than a quarter mile from each other. So we were throwing 2-3 times a week up until 2020.
What?
Yeah, so it ain't been too long, and then we picked it back up now. So we had maybe like year and a half, 2 years in between where we didn't get to throw it all. But I mean, we picking right back off where we left off as far as our friendship, and then just working together as well. It's been great so far, and we gotten our throwing sessions in, so we ready to pick up back. Like you said, it's not college, but I mean, we were dominating at our respective level there, and we both have only grown since we last left each other. So we're excited to get to work, man.
Yeah. Now, what are your first impressions about Waller and Hunter?
I'm excited, man. As soon as I got traded, I think that first night I was posting Hunter highlights on my story on Instagram, just because I'm excited to get to work with those boys, man. I kind of spoke to them a little bit as everything was kind of unraveling, but yeah, man, great guys, and they're just gonna make my job a hell of a lot easier. I mean, it's tough to go and cover 3 guys that can get open that will get open any given play. So it's a great situation I got to come into.
Yeah, for sure. What does your leadership look like? I mean, if you're quiet, kind of action guy, what kind of leader are you?
Well, I like to more than anything lead by example, but I'm definitely, I wouldn't say I'm quiet. I'm not a big rah-rah guy, but I show everybody how I work, and I think based off of what I've accomplished, so far, and what I'm going to continue to do, and from what I've seen from the guys, I mean, they got a ton of respect for me, so they know. I mean, coming from, winning a bunch of games and having individual success, like that myself, like, if I went somewhere else and I came with Big Ben or something, like I'm gonna have a lot of respect for Big Ben, or I'm gonna have a lot of respect for, whoever, if they've had a lot of success and they do things the right way. And I think that they acknowledge me as that type of guy. So, it makes it easy leading when you got guys that are willing to work and they all got a chip on their shoulder. And based off of what I've seen in the weight room and in the meeting room, it's a bunch of guys that are just like who I've came from working with. So it's gonna be a good situation, man.
Yeah, there were probably 8 or 9 receivers taken before you.
Yeah, I was the 9th.
You're the 9th one. You remember any of those names?
First was Sammy Watkins. I think he was 4.
Yeah.
Mike Evans went 7th. Odell went 12th. B. Cooks went to the Saints, I think, 20. Kelvin went 28. Marquise Lee went to the early, I think, 33 or something like that to the Jags. Paul Richardson went before me to the Seahawks.
Oh, Paul Richardson.
So I don't remember how many I just said, but I think that might be.
You're missing one for the
Jordan
Eagles.
Matthews.
Yeah,
Jordan Matthews. That was the last one. So yeah.
Wow.
It's been a long time, but you don't
but
forget
you got
stuff like
it's locked up in there,
You
right?
don't forget stuff like that. Man.
Okay, now so those 9 guys, if we take out quarterbacks, right now you're probably the #1 position player in the National Football League, arguably. Aaron Donald, of course, but. I mean, that says so much, man, about the growth, about, how you've been able to, face adversity, overcome those things, the depth of who you are on and off the football field. That's incredible, man.
Appreciate that.
To be able to sit here, 7, 8 years later and be one of the top guys in all of the game, man. Where does that come from? I mean, who do you owe that to?
Man, I owe it to a lot of people, but more than anything, just my inner dog, man. I just never satisfied. I'm always chasing myself. Once I got to a point where, and this is just I'm the most humble man in the world. So you'll know that about me the more you get to learn about me. But just once I realized, my full potential and who I was as a ball player, and that it's not about comparing myself to Julio or AB in his prime or any of these guys. It's more so once I realized that, I am the best, it was about chasing what I've done and finding a way to improve and realizing, because I've been in a situation where I've had success and then went away from it slightly. And I mean, especially at my position, you got maybe 2 weeks to not do to prove you the best. If you're the best, you better keep doing it. So that's my mentality. I've had a bunch of coaches tell me, I've never been a guy like, oh, give me the ball. But if things aren't working out, and as far as the offense goes, and I obviously am a key piece to what happens, the success of the offense. I need to be involved. I need to be able to be who I can be, because then that makes the team better. Ultimately, like me getting the ball, obviously the all pros and all of that stuff will come, but I don't even think about that stuff. I think about being a better person than what I was, a couple hours ago, let alone the previous year or anything like that. I want to keep stacking and being the best that I possibly can be. And if I can't do that, I'm not going to be satisfied. Yeah. I'm thinking about maximizing everything that I can. And that's what led to, my success. And I got my blinders on nonstop, and it's easy to look back at what you've done, and I've kind of adopted. He's younger than me, but Giannis and the way he thinks is he kind of got that Mamba mentality. So Kobe's a guy that I grew up loving. I got it inside all my cleats, Mamba mentality in my inserts. Yeah, just printed in there at all the J's. You're gonna see Mamba mentality just because. Kobe was a guy, he didn't care so much about being in all the commercials, being known for everything else. He wanted to be the best basketball player. And that's who I am. Like, people, when they meet me, they don't really know who I am because they don't know how to act. They don't know, like, should I cuss in front of them? Should I, how can I act? But that's just because I just want to be known for being the best at what I do. And the rest of it, as you get to know me, you'll learn that stuff. But me putting my entire self out there for the world, you won't really get that. You can kind of see a few snippets and stuff like that, but I want to be the best at what I do, and I want to be remembered for that, when it's all said and done, put that jacket on when my career is done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm not sure if you know it, but I have a son, who's going to be a senior in high school, and so he's on the 7-on-7 team, right? So we go Vegas, Arizona, Texas, go all over the country and watch the 7-on-7. Every single team, they're out there skipping, they're hopping, they're stuttering off the line of scrimmage. And a couple years ago, I was like, man, what are they doing?
Hey, man.
And finally, my son was like, Dad, everyone's trying to be like Davante Adams.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, oh my goodness. So, I'm a corner. The leverage is so important and critical to covering guys, playing up, playing off. Is this from the basketball? Where did you and Baldwin have kind of set 7-on-7 ablaze? So give me a little detail about where all this came from, man.
Well, it does, the derivative is definitely basketball, my basketball background, because I didn't play football until my junior year in high school. So
you didn't play like...
I played Pop Warner and broke my arm, my left humerus, and then I said, man, I'm done with that. I ain't break no bones my whole life, and I broke my left arm. I'm like, nah, I'm done. So got back on my basketball thing, and that's all I was really focused on, and that's where I got most of my attention in high school, was in the basketball world. And then I had one of my cousins tell me, like, you should get back out there, because I played quarterback when I first played. Okay. I want to be Mike Vick, man. I even tried to make myself left-handed. I did. That didn't work out, so broke the left arm. I said, maybe that's a sign. So I chilled, and my cousin was like, you should try to play wideout. I think just based off, going up is natural. Going up, grabbing boards, you got to high point it. Go up and get the ball. So first spring, I went out there, tried it, and I'm running posts, and the ball a little underthrown. I'm just going up, snagging it off of people's head, and then the coach is like, this is where you need to be at.
Yeah, this is it right here.
So, but it started with basketball, but then I had great coaches. I had two offers, San Diego State and Fresno State when I came out. And my Fresno State recruiter my biggest mentor, one of the biggest pieces of who I am as a football player now, Coach Keith Williams. He's with the Ravens right now. Okay. So he was there. Then he ended up going to Nebraska and coaching wideouts over there, and Tulane in between there. But as far as the ins and outs of wideout play, that's who I attribute. 95% of what I've learned and my growth. I got coached by him throughout each year. Like, I'm sending practice clips to him. Just even time I sent him a highlight tape of practice. He gonna send me back everything that he think I could have did better, and that's what got my mindset on never satisfied, because I never really had coaches that treated me like you're that guy. You know what I mean? I've always had, like, growing up East Palo Alto, everybody, all these coaches, they hard coaches, like and they were hoop coaches, because that's really all I did growing up. So everything was. It wasn't. It can be better. Not it's not good enough, but it can be better. Yes. So that's just the way that I think about it. Every time I do something, that's why I'm never satisfied unless I make the guy fall on the ground. You know what I mean? Like unless he fall or I completely lose him. Separation. But I want to abuse you every single time, because that's kind of the mindset that was instilled in me, early.
So if you're facing Slay, if you're facing, a quick corner, how much film prep will you watch on him, and will you watch film based on him covering you or someone else?
More often than not, honestly, earlier on in my career, I would worry more so about the player and how they play. You obviously got to check technique and see things, but it's gonna sound funny, but once the fear factor sets in, it's a different ball game. Like, because certain guys, like, they may play really well against, you know, so and so, but then once they get me in front of them, they already worried about the release. You know, they worried about what I'm gonna do and how it's gonna be, because they know how I run routes, right? So now there's certain things I don't even need to worry about, that the next man, you know, the guy from Miami, he may have played him a certain way, but he had more confidence guarding that guy. They have less confidence when they're guarding me. So when I line up, I'm just playing full speed and worried about what I'm doing, you know? Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's just leverages and it's just numbers for me out there. I'm not going to stress too much about who's covering me. Like I said earlier on, I was, and that didn't do much for me. So now I'm thinking about who I am as a player. If I got you head up, now you're number 43, you're number 22, whatever, and I got to run my route how I need to run it. So you'll hear me say that probably every week. They'll ask, what do you think about playing, you know, a guy from the Chargers? What do you think about playing this guy? I'm worried about my film. I'm a glance at his film to see his you know, tendencies and, you know, what does he like to do? Does he like to quick jam you and try to throw you off? I want to see stuff like that, but I'm not going to obsess over your film. I'm going to watch a little bit of that, more so look at how your defense looks as a whole and the coverages. That's what I'm more so worried about. And if you don't play man, then I don't even need to really worry too much about that. Last year, I mean, it's just doubles all day. So, you know, more of it is seeing the defense and knowing what's coming. Rather than just knowing who this guy is. Because for me, if I'm running full speed and doing what I need to do, he shouldn't be able to cover me anymore.
Finally, man, how has being a dad changed you as a football player and you as a man?
You got some good questions, man. That's a great question. Well, the moment my first daughter was born, it took away my my ability to really care about a lot of stuff. In a way of, like, I care about all the things I'm supposed to care about. That's what I mean by that. Not like, oh, I just don't care, so I'm not going to go today. It's more so like, drop a ball in front of the you know, 80,000 people in Green Bay. You know, that's a tough thing to do. But now it's more so like it was a workout. Like if you tripped in the back pedal working out in here, it's not going to do the same thing to you as if you was, you know, it's Sunday night football. But if it just made it to where it took all the pressure off me. Now I'm thinking about the things that really matter in life, like my kids' health, my kids loving their dad, stuff like that. Football is a great game, but it's a game at the end of the day. I obsess over it, and it may not seem like it's just a game to me the way I play, but it keeps me in a spot of just, like I said, keeping the main thing. It doesn't matter if a fan doesn't like how I played in the game. It just doesn't matter. What matters is that my family loves me when I get home, and my daughters are happy to see me regardless of, you know, how that game went. Those are the things that matter. So, you know, I don't really care about a certain thing. I care that because I hold myself to a high standard, so I don't ever want it to be confused that I don't care. Like, I don't care I dropped the ball. Like, I care about that. But as far as how people receive it and the stuff people will say it to you or how they treat you because of how you play football, that doesn't matter to me. You know, I want everybody to love me as a player, but if you don't, that doesn't matter. You know, like, I love you as a fan if you love me, but if not, doesn't matter. And that's the difference of having kids and being so tight and being older now, you know, going in my 9th season. It's a lot of things that you get psyched out in this game. I mean, you play your whole life, you playing this game to be in this position. So it's easy to let it kind of rattle your brain a little bit if you don't, you know, live up to what you know you can be. But if you just focus on what really matters in this world, it takes so much pressure off of you, and honestly, the mistakes reduce because now you're just playing free and being who you are. So that's where I am right now.
And how does the wife critique you? Does she critique your game? Are you on the grill?
My wife don't. My wife is my biggest supporter. She don't do a lot of critiquing because she see how I am on myself. I come home and I'm watching film after a 3:25 Green Bay game. I'm on the couch watching Sunday Night Football, and I'm like, oh my God, why did I? And it was a play, maybe a 35-yard gain that could have been 60. And she like, babe, like, so she see the way that I get on myself. I'm my biggest critic. So at the end of the day, it's probably nothing that you could see or say to me, come after a game, you'd probably be like, hey, you had a great game. And I'd be like, but I should have got more on that play. You'd be like, that's exactly what I was about to say. So that's the mentality. I hold myself to such a high standard to where, you know, the outside noise can never rattle me.
That's awesome, man. Well, man, it was a pleasure talking to you, man.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Good luck on the season.
Thank you, man.
And I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon, man.
I hope we do.
Adams.
Absolutely,
All
man.
right, man.
Appreciate you both.
Yeah, man, for sure, man.